Namaskar, everyone. Welcome to the Saraswati Sangam Project Eminent Scholar Lecture Series. It is our absolute honor to have Professor Veena Chandra as our eminent speaker today. Before I introduce our speaker, I want to share a little bit about the Saraswati Sangam Project. The Saraswati Sangam Project is a center of excellence dedicated to advancing and supporting research and dissemination of scientific inquiry grounded in Vedic knowledge. TSSP has several threads of activities to serve its mission. We have original content on TSSP YouTube channel. Please search for Saraswati Sangam on YouTube. We also support others' efforts, such as Prachyam documentary series on Indian contributions to the world, and most recently, Anujan Garvit's AKTK documentaries project. TSSP confers awards such as the Eminent Scholar Award and research scholarships, as well as grassroots research by acharyas at various gurukuls in India, and is in the process of developing a Hindu science program for high school students. We recently launched a writing competition and mentor program designed to facilitate and enable youngsters in their educational and career pursuits aligned with and empowered by our shared roots of our common ancient heritage. Today, we are truly honored to have Professor Veena Chandra as our Eminent Scholar Lecture Series speaker. Professor Chandra is an internationally renowned sitarist and artist, teacher and founder director of the Dance and Music School of India in Latham, New York. She's a faculty member in the music department at the Skidmore College and an artist associate in sitar at Williams College, Massachusetts, and has pioneered many firsts in the realm of Indian classical music in the United States. She's a recipient of many awards: New York State Folk Arts Grant, Artist Decentralization Grant, among many others. She received the SRIJAN Music Excellence Award in 2018, New York Fine Arts Fellowship in 2019, and the Sangeet Kala Kendra awarded her Sangit Sevi in 2021. It is our privilege and honor to confer the 2022 TSSP Eminent Scholar Award on Professor Chandra in recognition of her contributions to advance our ancient Vedic knowledge through the rigor of and beauty of Bharatiya arts and music, and enhance the present day awareness of the rich ancient knowledge heritage of India. Today, Professor Chandra is going to speak and share her knowledge on the Natya Shastra. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Professor Chandra. Very warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Aparnaji. It's my honor to be here at your Eminent Scholar lecture. And I'm very honored that you recognize all these Vedic knowledges and sharing with the future scholars and students and other fellows. Thank you very much. So I'll start with the Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra. Natya Shastra is about the drama and the theory of the drama. And Bharat Muni had this idea given to him from Brahma. So this thing was written 500 BC by sage Bharat. And Bharat describes a divine origin that happened in the Treta Yuga. Knowledge was deteriorating and Shudras weren't allowed to read or listen to the 4 Vedas. Indra requested Brahma to create something that all castes could enjoy by hearing and seeing. Brahma took the essence of the 4 Vedas and gave it to Bharat Muni to create something, and he created the Natya Veda. So the objective of this was to reach the four goals of the life, artha, dharma, and kam and moksha. So it's called a fifth Veda because the words were from the Rig Veda, music from the Samaveda, and gestures and acting from the Yajurveda, emotions and ras from the Atharvaveda. It's all written in Sanskrit. It encompasses the philosophy and principles of Dharma, religion, and history that everyone can relate to. So the dharma is we know this, moral duties and justification, earth, means of life, career stuff, calm, desire, having children, moksha, to the spiritual liberation. Bharat Muni explains that he taught his Natya Shastra to his 100 sons. And by that we mean that he had a Gurukul, and the Gurukul, there were other students, and they are like his sons because they all lived with him. Bharat Muni created a theater, did Bhumi Pujan and prayers for months before he could do this. So the first performance happened at the Indradhwaj. There were two acts, Amrit Manthan and Tripura Dahan. And everybody knows about the Amrit Manthan, how the demons and the gods, they did the Samudra Manthan, and the other things came out of that Manthan, and that was acted. So now the feedback they asked, Shivji said that, well, it's pretty good, but if you will add some dance into it, it will be better. And the Bharat Muni had all his disciples and his sons, they say 100 sons. So they were all boys or men. So they needed a female part. So Indra gave them the Apsaras. And Naradji taught Gandharvaveda, which is the Sangeet, the music, to Bharat Muni. And when this was performed, after that, the demons thought that they were like making fun of them, and they got very upset. But Indra beat them with his Vajra. And so then they sent the Bharat and his sons to perform this on the earth. So now the purpose of Natya Shastra was achieved because Shudras could listen and watch now whatever it is there. So the entertainment, it is an effect, but it's not the primary goal of the arts. Primary goal of the art is to lift and transport the audience into the expression of ultimate reality and transcend the values. So this is another thing that it's written in a narrative and also drashya shravya, which is you can see and you can hear. That's how it was. So you want it to act on. The whole Natya Shastra is written in a question answer also, because the Munis, the students, the disciples are asking and he's telling them. And so there are narratives and there are drashya shravya, which you can see and hear. I would say the modern TV is one of your example of that. You can hear and see, and that's how that is very, you're glued to it. So world's largest, most comprehensive, and the oldest literature on the performing arts is Natya Shastra. It's talking about the theater, talking about music, dance, acting, literature, poetry. So this is the foundation of our Indian classical arts and the post-Vedas. Very important source for the role of arts in the society and dharmic and inner development of mankind and Hinduism. There are 36 chapters with the 6,000 shlokas in Sanskrit language. There's 6 chapters on music, and their question answer between the Bharat and his sons. That's in between you see that's the original Natya Shastra here. So there are chapters, how to begin the theater, the theater characteristics, inaugural puja of a theater, which is important. I have seen this inaugural puja also when they do a Bharatnatyam Ayangetram, they invite a priest and do the puja. And normally in other dances and other things, we have a starting invocation. So that's the effect of that. Inaugural puja of the theater, Tandav dance, ritual of the Purvang, that means before we start, and then Rasa theory and Bhav and facial expressions and glances, hand gestures. They still use those single and combined, single hand and the combined hand, and the dance with the footwork, acting techniques, body, limbs, and feet position, basic steps, standing with the postures, positions of the weapons, combined steps and movements, types of scene or chari, which is the footwork, stage and theatrical customs, chanda. So when we say something, there are different chands in Sanskrit, recitation and metrical patterns, examples. So he went in really details, poetry and figure of speech, prakrit, recitation. So there was another language which was prakrit and not the Sanskrit. So modes of addressing and enunciation, and 10 kind of play, and the plot structure, models of scene representation, stage, costumes, makeup, everything. He didn't leave anything behind, I would say. Female theater and definition of woman is the virtue of armor's man, various representations and success of a drama. Very good. Gandharva music, melody types and music part of Purvang. Then he talks about different instruments, hollow instruments, time measures, stage songs and performance, dhruv songs. Now dhruv songs, right now, if we know Dhrupad is related to that, drums and covered instruments, types of characters, role distribution and ideal trope. So he wouldn't give some role to somebody who couldn't act like a Ravan or a Ram or a Sita. He would find a right person for that. Or Hanuman, descent of drama on the earth and importance of performing arts on culture. So he's very extremely thorough and descriptive. Then he talked about the stages. So what happened when they were getting disturbances from the demons, so they decided that it should be a little bit more, the stage and everything should be more, like a rectangular, square, a triangular. And we have to understand that those times there were no microphones and everything. So people should be able to hear that. And I read somewhere that they created a theater, something like this, based on this. So it could be a small, like a Sangeet Sabha, we could have a small gathering, we could have a medium gathering, we could have a large gathering, like that. Positionings of actors and props, and the movement on the stage, entrance and exit. Now he also has the main stage and the side green rooms and all that. So he talked about costumes, makeup, language, bhav, feelings, swar notes, tal, dance, and background. Normally the background was natural. So this helps the audience to get absorbed in the drama and understand the message that's being communicated. The 4 ways of communicate with the audience. There are words, gestures, costumes, aharya, which is a makeup, and they should all be harmonious with the drama. Now, how it relates to Indian music. Indian music is an integral part of performing arts in the Hindu tradition since the Vedic times. It's recognized by the Northern and Carnatic musicians and dancers and poets. Knowledge of instruments and music is important for everyone today, and we draw a lot of things from his Natya Shastra, Vedic and non-Vedic songs, poetry and structure of a song, template for composing plays. And words and songs should produce bliss in the reader and listener. Purpose is to transport the audience into the imaginative world and transform the inner state of higher level consciousness. Now it's like watching a movie and crying with that. Well, nothing is happening actually, but we imagine that, oh, this happened. I want this one to win. I want, so we get involved with that so much. Now there are chands here, Gayatri Chand, Ushnik, Anushtup, Brahati, Pankti, Trishtup, Jagati. Now these all are here. The Gayatri has 3 padas of 8 syllables, which is 24. Ushnik has 4 padas of 7 syllables, which is 28. Anushtup has 4 padas of 8 syllables, 32. Brahati has 4 padas, 9 syllables, 36. Pankti has 4 padas, 10 syllables, 40. Trishtup has 4 padas, 11 syllables, 44. Jagati has 4 padas and 12 syllables at 48. So the chandas were poetic meters and verses in Sanskrit pattern of rhythm and sound. So if we go to a temple and we hear the Pandits reciting it properly, so one of the 6 Vedangas central to composing the Vedas. And these liberate us and entertain us. 7 types of songs. Then Mandarka, Aparantaka, Rovindaka, Pragri, Ulopya, Udaka, and Uttara. There are 33 alankars in a song. So now, when we give 10 alankars for a student to learn, they say, well, do I have to still do that? You know, and I know that earlier, teachers used to grind them for 3 years, just the alankars. So it got so dry by the time they were through the alankars, they would either leave, or if they stayed, they learned something. So the songs have 4 basic architecture varna or note patterns, which is aro, sthai, avro, and unsteady line. I would call that probably like a tan and alaps in there. The musical instruments that we still follow this division classification. Ancient India, 4 musical instrument group based on their acoustic principle, how they work, or rather than material they are made of. So Bharat classifies and dedicates a separate chapter to each. String instruments, in which Veena, and there were, I know that everybody made their own Veena. There were like 15 types of Veena. Somebody says there are 21 types of Veena. Then, so the hollow instrument like a sushirvadi, what we call, like flute, and covered instruments and solid instruments. Covered instruments like the pakhavach or mridang, and solid instrument like a cymbal or tambourine, stuff like that. So tat is a string instrument, of course. Avnad is percussion. Sushir is hollow, and ghan is like cymbals. And so there are 7 notes here. Sharajascha, Rishabhascha, Gandharo, Madhyamastatha, Panchamo, Dhavatascha, Saptamot, Nishadavan. The sound and rhythm and chanda applied to the text. Now this is our Sharaj, Rishabh, Gandhar, Madhyam, Pancham, Dhavat, Nishad, and Sharaj again. So these are our Sharaj, and something to note that our I'll go back a little bit here. Our Kafi That was their Shuddha Swar Saptak, what we call Saptak. Over here we call octave, but we believe it's only 7, and then again the size repeated. But in there, he talks about Antarga, which is the Shuddhaga, and Kakli Nishad, which is the Shuddhani, but their Shuddha Swar Saptak was our present Kafi That. So another very important scientific analysis he did, which is called Sarna Chatushtayi. It is totally separate topic. And in this, I'll tell you what he did, created 2 identical Veena or 2 computerized Veena. You can understand how advanced we were in those days that we could create 2 identical Veena. And one Veena, he put it aside which he called Achal Veena, and the Chal Veena, which he moved what he calls the Praman Shruti, and he brings it down one Shruti, and then compares to the first Veena, and then he brings it down another time and compares it to the that, and then third time and the fourth time, and then he sees how they are matching, where they are matching, and this is how he came up with the Shrutis here. So musical intervals classified in writing. There were 7 notes. There were 3 grams. Now grams, if you know, the gam or gram is the same thing. And it's a group of swaras, which was called grams. There were 3 grams, but he only mentions 2, Sharaj and Madhyam gram. So there were 21 murchnas and 22 shrutis, and there are 18 jati. Now, jati is something that they sang at that time. Like we have a rag gayan today, it was jati gayan. So swar vadi is main note, samvadi is the 9 or 11 shruti distance, anuvadi is the follower note, vivadi is a enemy note. So so we talked about the jati gayan versus rag gayan. Today we have rag gayan. Actually, rag gayan rag word only came at the like around 13th century, I would say. Sharang Dev is the one who said about the rag. Rag is Ranjake iti raga. Ranjake iti raga. So now they talked about Shruti, they talked about like 66,000. They said as many stars in the sky, that's a Shruti. But they said we can't go like this. So we have to come up with a little bit more scientific way. So they said there are 22 nadis in our body, and they said that's a 22 Shrutis. These are Shrutis, Tibra, Kumuditi. The Kumuditi is a Kakalini, which is the Shuddhani. Manda, Chandovati, Dayavati, Ranjani, Raktika, Rodri, Krodha, Vakrika, Prasarani, Preeti, Marjani, Shiti, Rakta, Sandipni, Alapni, Mandanti, Rohani, Ramya, Ugra, Shobhani. So then Samapa there is a shlok about the Chatush, Chava, Sharaj, Badhyam, Panchama, Dvaya, Nishad, Gandharvaveda. These 3 Rishabh Dhavato. That means Samapa has 4 Shrutis, Red have 3, Gani have 2 Shrutis. And the ancient scholars, now this is another big subject to do. So ancient scholars you see the Chandovati is the Sa. The modern scholars, they say the Sa and then the Shruti. They agree on the 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, and 2, 2, but they don't agree on this. The ancient scholars said the Shrutis and then the Sa. So, but modern scholars say the Swar and then the Shrutis follow there. So the gram is the scale of the notes, and first time he mentioned the Sharaj gram and Madhyam gram, and he didn't mention the Gandhar gram. They said that it went to the Swarglok. Sharaj gram has Sharaj Pancham Samvad, which is the harmony of the 5th. If we understand the harmony of the 5th, in our scale, we have harmony of the 5th. When something doesn't, when we can't follow something, then we, or if there is a discrepancy, we arrange it through the harmony of the 5th. That means Sa, Arpa, Re, Dha, Gani, Ma, Sa, they all are 5th, exactly to the dot. And the Madhyam gram has Sharaj Madhyam Samvad, which is like a Samvad from the Sa to Ma, Re to Pa, Ga to Dha, Ma to Ni, Pa to Sa, like that. So different scales of the different forms of the performances. So there were 18 jati, 11 jati of the Sharaj gram, and 7 jati of the Sharaj gram and 11 jati of the Madhyam gram. Now these jati also had these essentials of a jati, just like we have in the rag, Vadi, Samvadi, Vivadi, Anuvadi, and and all these essentials of the rag, they had the essentials of jati. Graha is the note where we started the thing. Graha, it means ghar. That means that's where we're going to start it. So they had that defined. Ansh is which is very prominent, like a vadi. Tar is like how to go to the tar saptak. Mandra is to go to the lower saptak. Nyas is where we can stop. Apnyas is where we can stop a little bit. And alpatva is when we can use the note very little. Bahutva is when we can use a note really well. And that'll be like one of the vadis who are going to have like a junction or like a big station there. Sharavatva is like when there are only 6 notes used. Oravatva is when there are only 5 notes used. And I think we have that, like when we say jati, what is the jati of this rag? That's how we know jati. But at that time, there was a jati gayan, which was like a rag. And when we say jati is order, sharav, all those things. And kutapa is orchestra. How to have the orchestra? I mean, you can imagine, like we say, oh, we don't know any orchestra, but Bharat has, he has all of those things right there. He said kutapa is a orchestra, perfect team performance. And when we play with other people, it has to be a perfect team. Otherwise, it will be disaster there. So it consists of at least 1 male or 1 female singer and 9 to 11 musical instruments player. So that was his ideal thing. Nrit. Now, in Nrit, there is a current basic dance form that combines the hands and feet gesture with the body postures and sthanas and gaits, which is chari. There are 108 karanas, building blocks of dance, movements of major and minor limbs, facial expression, articulate ideas and emotions. And there are mudras. These mudras, one hand mudras 24, both hand mudras 13, and 30 Natak Hasta mudra. That means the hands and feet. Mudras are still part of classical dance forms today. And I know Bharatanatyam, Kachipuri, and Kathak also has, and Odissi dance. So actors are very important part, and there are auditors and directors working together with the actors from the perspective of the audience and meaning of the playwright in attempting to convey messages. And I remember that we used to do a lot of dance dramas in our college time, and how much we had to struggle with them. Somebody is not having the ashru coming out, so we put a little glycerin on there so they can see like, okay, the person is crying. All right. So many verses dedicated to the training of the actors. Ideal training encourages self-development within the actor and raises the actor's level of consciousness, which in turn empowers him or her to express ideas from that higher state of consciousness. So I know if you're becoming a Ram, like in the Ramayana, that Arun Govilji acted so well that when people saw him outside the Ramayana, they would say, ask his blessings, and he said, no, I'm like you. But he had really turned himself with a very great discipline, that people really thought that he's the God, he's the God and he can bless us. And we've seen them when they have Ramayana, and in the time when they were in Navratri, there is a lot of Ramayana acting and all of that goes on. And one time when they were in the back of the stage and they were supposed to be serving the food, the people said, he's Ravan, he kidnapped Sita. They beat him up. And one time when there was Mahabharat was going on, so Dushasan, they refused to serve food to Dushasan because his role was Dushasan to Chirharanam of the Draupadi. They said, no, we cannot serve him food because he is Dushasan. But You have to understand that they were just actors, but acting was so good. People got so involved in it, and they thought it was really happening. So this is a self-development of the artist. Understand the three gunas, which is sattva, rajas, and tam, as human lives are in interplay of those, must feel a specific state within to express it outward. So Natya Shastra uses the ideas of yoga, mirroring asanas and pranayam and dhyan for training actors and expressions of higher level of consciousness. I think that's a great thing to do. And I know that, your film stars, Kareena Kapoor, I know that she used to do 108 Surya Namaskar. So the body is flexible and you're ready to grasp whatever the director is telling you, because otherwise you are in a thing, and which is very important. Like even when we perform or do some things like that, we need to really focus or be with ourselves, inner self. Training of the actress, chapters 8 to 12, gestures, movement, performance, significance, and 24 chapter dedicated to female in performing arts. So nice. They have given some importance to the women here. Goals of art is spiritual values. Art and music are spiritual, with the power to guide one to moksha through empowering the concentration of mind for the liberation of Atma. I know that they say that the person who knows the techniques of the playing Veena can go to the moksha without any problem. Also, the dancers, those they say that they cut all their sins when they are doing the dance. They are so focused into the dance. So this is all our higher goals of the life. Songs are sacred and performance arts. Performance arts are holy. Arts are offered as alternative paths in similar strength to the knowledge of Shrutis, Vedas, and Upanishads. So that point is that people are not able to read these every day. Those who can read one drop of that, then it's good. But they can definitely watch a Drashya Shravya, which is the drama or natak. Goal of performing arts is to reach higher self. The playwright, the actress, and director all aim to transport the audience to an aesthetic experience within him, to eternal universals, and emancipate him from the mundane of creative freedom within. So, state of performing arts such as drama, songs, music are equal to importance as the understanding of the Vedic hymn, and that participating in vocal instrumental music once is superior to bathing in the river Ganges for the 1,000 days, and I like that. So now the theory of the rasa. Now the rasa, actually, when we even in little things that we talk about the food, there's a ras. We have to have the gravy. Now, actually, Bharat talked about the ras as enjoying the ras in the food. Compare rasa from an art, from the ras to enjoy in the food. There's a salty, and soury, there's a spicy, there's a, shatras vyanjan, what we talk about, 6 different kind of bitterness. All of these are like a karela and a sweet and a gulab jamun and a mohan bhog. So this is the same thing. The aim of art is to evoke ras. So we can see the ras. If we juice orange, we can see the ras. But when we experience this relationship between the performer and audience, and that creates a ras. So the arts aim to empower men to experience ras or bliss, take the audience to a state of discovery and understanding. Actors aim to bring the audience to this aesthetic experience within him. So there are 8 different types of ras that Bharat talked. And this is reached through the words, gestures, and temperaments. So there are words there is gestures, and there are how the tonal quality of that. Shangar, which is love, Hasya, which is comic, Karuna, which is sorrow, Rudra, furious, Veer, heroic, Bhayanak, terror, Vibhats is disgust, Adbhut is astonishment. So the ninth ras was added by Abhinav Gupta. I mean, after Bharat, there were so many people there, what we call a tikas. Tikas are like a critical reviews of Bharat. They came up with there were Manabhatra, there are a lot of other Dattilam, there are a lot of people, those who came up. So this is a chart of the rasa and emotion and gods and colors. So all these rasa also had the gods and their colors. The Shingar has erotic feeling, and Vishnu is the god, and light green is the color. Hasya is the laugh, and Ganesh, and the white is the color. Karuna is sad, and Shiva is the gray or blue. Raudra, anger, and Rudra is red. Veer, courageous, Indra, and light yellow is the Bhayanak, fear, Kali, and black. Vibhats, horrific, hatred, Mahakal, and it's blue. Adbhut is marvel, Brahma, and it's yellow. So, and the purpose of the color is like there is aura behind this, them. These gods have aura, and then you have, when this ras is there, there's that kind of aura, that kind of feeling. Drama was done in nature at that time. The inner state of being or feeling, this is a bhav. He spends a whole chapter on the bhav. Bhav is to become the emotion felt by the character and communicated to the audience, resulting in the audience experiencing the ras or beauty. So, and we call it beauty outside the bird. The ras is inner, it's atmic. Rasa has corresponding bhav, inner feeling. It is a state of mind whose outcome is the rasa. Audience connects to the bhavas, inner feelings of the character. So the plot, the vastu, represents the three words, divine, human, and demonic. Human beings are different in the inner state of audience, and through the art performed, they can recognize their state. And that's how we feel good when we are participating in a cultural activity or a drama or something. We feel very strong that we did something great here. So there are bhav, different types of bhav. Sthai bhav, which is stable, constant, and universal with emotions. As in these days, we know that McDougall has 9 instincts and 9 emotions attached to that. That's all the same thing. Asthai bhav or Sanchari, Vibhachari bhav, transitory or momentary feeling which come and go. There is Sattvic bhav, which is physical manifestation of the intense emotion, like we heard something and we started sweating. That would be Sattvic bhav. Asthai bhav. So like Dushyant came in and he saw Shakuntala and he fell in love with, and Shakuntala saw him, and in between there's a bhora, bumblebee comes in, and Dushyant comes and he snatches the bumblebee that we just came in at that little. So there are like this. So Sthai bhav, again, the rati, which is love, has mirth, shok, grief, and krodh, anger, utsaha, heroism, bhaya, fear, jugupsa, disgust, vismaya, wonder. So all this in the dance, in a Bharatnatyam dance, you see these. I'll show you another. Birju Maharaj is depicting all the 9 rasa. He's a great Kathak dancer here. So then rasa, again, this is same thing. Shangar, rati, the emotion is love. Bhav is rati, hasya, hasa and humor, karuna, shok, sad, rudra, Raudra, krodh, anger, veer, utsaha, courage, bhayanak, bhay, fear, vibhatsa, jugupsa, disgust, adbhut, vismay, and marvel. Now there are 33 Sanchari bhav, in which nirved, which is disgust, glani, torment, samasya, which is sanshay, which is doubt, shama, toil, danya, weak, jajatva, which is jadatva, which is dull, asuya, jealousy, chinta, anxiety, vyadhi, sick, Awake, pride, garv, agitation, dhriti, firm, smriti, chaipalya, ugrata, ferocious, trasa, fear, abhita, attention, vishad, dejection, mad, arrogance, atsukya, Otsukya, eager, mati, determined, nidra, sleepiness, moha, perplexity, prabodha, enlightenment, harsh, joy, vriddha, sense of shame, vitarika, argument, supta, slumber, amarsh, anger, alasya, indolence, unmad, madness, apsara, forgetfulness, marana is death. And one thing was, I read that they weren't allowed to show their death on the stage in ancient time. So Sattvic Bhav is the physical manifestation of emotions, stump, petrified, sway, perspire, romanch, like hair stand up on the skin, swarbhet, like voice, voice changes, vipatu, tremble, wherein your face changes, ashru, cry, pralaya, faint. So when Shakuntala went to see Dushyant and she didn't find her ring, he said, show me something that you met me. And there was no ring, she fainted. So the bhav is the soul of the dance and drama. Every artist, musician wants to display the sentiments in the performance. It needs that emotion to be effective and beautiful. Actor or artist has to become one with the role. They can't be two. They can't be just say, I have to do this role and not become that. So bhav, vibhav and anubhav. These are the cause and effect relationship. Vibhav is the emotion causes the anubhav, physical expressions. And vibhav, the cause that produces the emotion by vachik, is by word angika, like with the gestures, and satvika, which is like automatically happens. So alamban vibhav, main stimulator, like Sita sees Ram and they fall in love. And udipan is that when she's sitting by herself and thinking about him. And also like, when Ram went and he saw the moon rising there and he said, well, should we compare Sita with the, they're talking about her, they are already seen her. Should we compare her with Sita? We said, no, moon has a black spot, Sita doesn't. So like that. And also like hearing the papiha singing that like Yaad Piya Ki Aaye, the song, the koyalya is cooked, all these things are happening. So that's there. So physical and expressions, outward manifestation of the feelings. Chittaja anubhav. That means that it affects our mind. And then Gat Raja is the body. It affects our body. Buddhyarambha anubhav. That is only experience with the buddhi. Vagrambha anubhav. That's with the voice. Sita sitting in the distress in Ashok Vadika. And she's thinking about Ram. And she's feeling that. And then Hanuman is on the top and he starts reciting about the Ram story, and so she forgets about her sorrow at that time, and she's listening to it very carefully, and she feels good about it. So so this is like that. And then she got scared again, because when he came down, he said, the one who is telling me the story, come down, and he comes down, and she gets scared. She thinks this is another trick of Ravan here. And so that these are the different feelings. Displays the character's feeling and creates the ras. Ashray is the person who is experiencing the rasa. So ras nishpatti is the creation of the ras. Nishpatti is to create. A spectator's experience, how the people, the audience, the people watching is how they are feeling. Awareness of the emotion in the minds of the spectator. Vibhav, Anubhav, Vyavachari, Vibhav. Bhav. Vyavachari or Sanchari is the same thing. Bhav combined together creates a ras, or delightful experience, or blissful experience. So rasa ve rasa in Sanskrit by Bharat. So whatever with the full of ras is their rasa. Like having to meet the God. When you experience the ras, you don't need any knowledge or anything. A person can experience that by itself, just like having your Atma. It's the inner experience or Atmagat experience. So everybody has an Atma and they can feel this inside them. So I have this AAA formula, which is art, artist, and audience. And I explain to people that artist has, indulges himself or herself into the art, and completely their lifestyle is merged into the art. And when the audience becomes one with that, it's not only performing at one spot, but this is like what artist carries with herself or himself, and has how they have modified their life, and that the sample of that is going on the stage at that time. When the audience experiences that moment, they are all together. They, without practicing, without doing all those efforts, they can enjoy, they can be at the same level as the artist is, as a musician is with the music. They are totally into that mode, and then they let the audience experience this for that moment, and people feel great after also that. So audience become one with the art and artist. They can now experience the rest without being able to perform the art, without doing that much effort, but they just have to be present there. Nowadays, you can see people on YouTube and Facebook and all of that. So the audiences are liberated from their worldly problems. Like for the moment, they forget. This is their, what we call entertainment also, but they're also like really wash themselves from the body, mind, and soul, and enhance their blissfulness. So, and they're transported from the personal level to the universal experience, capable of experiencing the nirvana or blissfulness. And what he calls the Brahmananda Sahoder. So there is a sadharanikaran, went away from personal to the universal, and art can generate a spiritual enlightenment within us. And there was something about, so this is the Brahmananda Sahoder. He talks about that this is like experiencing, like being one with the God. And you have not met the God, but with the arts and music, you can be there. They say the music is the what do you call, bridge to meet the God. Music, art, and all that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Chandra. This was absolutely amazing overview of the Natya Shastra, and I have to say, whatever I knew, this has reinforced the fact that it's extremely thorough and extremely comprehensive. So I have a couple of very elementary questions for you. One is, given that this is ancient, how complete is it available? How completely available is it, as in a complete original form, or has there been modifications along the centuries in it? And second related question is, you showed several visuals. So I was wondering, does the original text also have such visuals, such as showing bhav or showing, aspects of performing arts in visual sense?
They have some. They do have some. They do have some visuals, and actually, that's how he has a narratives, descriptive things, and then there is a drashya shravya, so he's showing them some way, and they are handwritten. You have to see that the text that we showed there, that's handwritten, and it's difficult to be able to translate and all that. And a lot of, as I said, starting Abhinav Gupta and the Tilam and all these people, they did a lot of their tikas. Tikas is like a critical reviews of the thing. And they like, in our ancient culture, this is like, the people are really very pinpoint and then critical about somebody's, before we can give somebody, say, okay, he's the fifth Veda creator. Before we can say that, the people really want to test you so well. So I would imagine that there's lots and lots of people have talked about Natya Shastra and everything, and this is available there. And now, I mean, from the Treta Yuga and up to now, how much we have lost our culture. We have lost a lot of culture, but it's still, whatever it is there, we have, restored whatever we have. That's what we have now. I mean, practically it will be so difficult to find out what if I would want to meet Bharat and ask him. But the amazing thing that he has not left any little thing behind to cover in his Natya Shastra. Is so thorough. He's like talking about, he's all in one. He's like a theory of the Nat, how to prepare, how to have the main theater, Rangmanch, and how the Veshbhusha and everything. And he's like, tremendous job that he's done. And then they did like a lot of time. They did the Bhumi Pujan, they did the chanting, they did the like Vedic where there's part over there, the yagyan and all that went for months before they could do this. So I see the importance of that, because that, because they wouldn't want any disturbance during their projections here. So that's,
So in terms of how widely it is still read today, what do you know of how widely it's in curriculums or?
Oh, the curriculums have Natya Shastra. They don't have the total full of it, but I know that they have the Ras part. They have the the classification of instruments and all of that. That's there. Even in short, we have that, what we teach, the classification of instruments and all of that is in undergraduate. And graduate studies people have Bharatnatyam Shastra, they have about Ras Nishpati and all of that. They have the questions, what is what. And then people have lectures or stuff like that on that. It is in the universities as well. Bharatnatyam Shastra is not something to ignore while they are learning theater. Right. And I mean, I don't think they have in Western universities. No, they don't have. But we do go to theater class and talk about Natya Shastra and stuff like that. We do talk about the Ras, and I talk about my AAA formula and all of that. And I try to convey that there is a Brahmananda Sahoder. It's like meeting with the God, and that's what it is. Yeah, and,
so given that it is so thorough and so comprehensive, I can't imagine that it's not one relevant more universally and relevant today. So in that regard, what are your thoughts? Because for instance, dance forms in India and music forms in India have been extended to various other cultures, Indonesia, Thailand, and you name it. So what do you see as the connect of, obviously in universal relevance as well as contemporary relevance?
I mean, Bharatnatyam Shastra?
Yeah. Yeah, so, because performing arts is pretty universal, right? And this is so theoretically comprehensive.
And I don't know how much I can find out. People are not very receptive about things, some of the things coming from India also. Okay. For example, I will tell you now, you can have this as a note. On October 1st, we are inviting a big We are doing a very big show at the Skidmore College,
Mhm.
which is involving 4 musicians. Okay, there is one dancer, Odissi dancer, who is coming, and you can see how she does the how in person you can see that's going to be there.
Mhm.
But during this, having this as a music department event, and I am the generator of this event this year.
Mhm.
And actually it is, I realized that yesterday that it's going to be 100 years of Skidmore. So that's perfect match for this. All of a sudden, it wasn't like they were doing this, but it was my proposal and they accepted it. So that's great. And it's happening October 1st, 7 o'clock at the SRIJAN Music Center. Now, during this, I also contacted different departments, like a dance department, like a theater department. And the theater department said, well, we'll give you only 20 minutes to do something in there as a workshop or something. So that shows that they don't know. They don't really know what we are going to be doing. They think fine, it's like that, but they don't understand that much. It depends who is teaching and what. And like there was another professor who was there a couple of years, and she used to always invite us in their classroom, talk about the Natya Shastra, talk about the Bharat, talk about the Dushyant and Shakuntala, and all, how their stories, one of the favorite one, as far as Shangaras and all of that, then there is Karun Ras, all the rasas are there, So we even talked about acting up, and doing the classes. We have also done some dance classes to have the people see how the abhinaya goes in there, because to convey the proper meaning, we need to have the abhinaya skills. Yeah. So, but I'm sure once it gets more popular, having, even still, I mean, we are in minority, and the whole shebang is going toward the Western culture.
Right.
The problem is this, and even in, but there are things like we have in television, we have the Ramayana, we have the Mahabharata, we have the people are still working on it, like, Ramananda Sahoder created Ramayana, which is a very beautiful piece of art, as well as the historical thing that's that's been presented there. And I know there are other episodes have been created besides that. So they're trying to do that, but through, I would say, television, people are reaching out. But still there is more to learn, more to expand the horizon.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is a lot of need for familiarizing the world with the riches and the wealth of knowledge we have over the past many millennia. And I think it's a shared burden that we haven't done our part in sharing. And of course, when others are in ignorance, clearly they don't know. So they don't know better. So clearly there's not much to
they don't know.
go
Since
by.
they don't know, then they don't take care of it, as but if they find out a little bit, then they get interested in that. And I have the experience of that. I teach an Indian music ensemble, and yesterday in class I said, well, what to teach these different characters here, sitting in front of me. So when I said, well, we just had a Ganesh Chaturthi, and I said, well, let me teach them a little chant in a music. And I was surprised how well they received that. And it's working in all ways, because they're going to learn something. They're learning a language in Sanskrit. They're singing. They are learning something which is going to help them in future. Rather than, something totally vague. College students have so much of different attractions and whatever not.
Right.
So I thought that was very well received by the students, and they until they find out, on their own, or how they get little bit exposure of these things. That's when they can learn.
Absolutely.
And I mean, yeah, and people are trying. I mean, they are offering a course of goddesses of India, which I had, I had created that syllabus 20 years back. They've been teaching it. So that's great, So people are, they have to be more exposure. There has to be more exposure.
Absolutely, we have to keep chipping away at it, and the amazing aspect is everything is connected the way it's constructed, and nothing is left out. So hopefully that gives more and more angle to get people's attention. All the Devi Devtas, the colors, the tables you had, and basically in emphasizing that everything is connected. Our experience in life and in arts is so connected. So I hope we can keep chipping away on getting more awareness and more broad appreciation of what we have to offer. And thank you so much for making the time today for doing this. This is our first effort to get Natya Shastra learning among our Saraswati Sangam audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Aparna. Thank you very much to Saraswati Sangam. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure to be here. Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you.